3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's Monday. It's Monday. It really is. 7 o'clock. And that can mean only one thing. It's time for Reading the Signs, where me, Comedy John Ryan, and my comedian pals from all over the world are going to be talking about comedy, well-being, why we do it, how we cope. And that's where we need your help. We need you to send us your top tips for well-being. Be part of the show. Drop a comment in the box on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the mensradiostation.com website. It's going to be a great show, much better than last week. What we're trying to do is think exceptional, which, funnily enough, is the motto of WJ, our show sponsors. WJ are the UK's leading road marking and highway maintenance company. They're working with us, we're working with you. Let's get to it. Well, a great big good evening to you all. And here I am, wearing pink today. Just got that kind of vibe to it. I thought if I looked a bit summery, I might be able to persuade myself that it's actually summer and not monsoon. You know, come on, give me a break here. How has your week been? What you guys been up to? Let me know. Do tell me anything that's happened, anything interesting or dull. You know, I'll be the judge. I'm pretty good at knowing what's good, what's not good. As usual, this week, I'm going to be joined by one of the UK's leading comedians, but also this guy's an author, and he's got an absolutely brilliant book out that I'm going to highly recommend that everyone goes out and buys a copy of. Do let us know that you're there. As always, we are looking for your comments, for your ideas, for your suggestions. If there's anyone watching, just have a little hello. Say a little hello to me, will you? Otherwise, I think I'm on my own. Don't know what's going on. Do stay on as well. Do have a listen, because as the show progresses, we'll get more and more into very interesting conversations, some great topics as well. It's been a funny week, isn't it, with the weather? It's that rain, that monsoon rain we've had every day. Some days it's been boiling hot, other days lashing down with rain. I feel like I'm going through the menopause. It's ridiculous. I'm hot, cold, wet, and not good. But I love this weather. I love rain. I love the kind of whole drizzly grey skies. It's warm, so you know, I could deal with that. I'd like it to be a bit colder, but weather is very much like your mental well-being. Some days there'll be good days, some days there'll be bad days. We can all experience the same events, but be experiencing it in different ways. So some people will enjoy it, and some people just won't. It's just how it is. It's been a pretty good week for me, though, really. Socially, we had too many nights out. We cooked food at home one day in the last 7. The rest of the time, we've been eating out at friends' houses and going for, like, you know, those 2-for-1 deals down the pub. But it's been a really good week. Been really nice. Let me know if you've been doing anything, or if there's anything that you want to talk about. So the guy that we got on this week, Peter Francis, I have known him probably for 20 years. When I first started out, he was starting out around sort of the same time, but always been impressed with him by his, not just his comedy, but his attitude to life. And he's a really good example of, if something's not going well for you, change it. And he's been really, really instrumental in helping quite a few other people, what with his fitness clubs that he runs, also with his writing, and he's a promoter too. I want to just quickly give thanks to WJ, our show sponsors. WJ, as we know, are the company's leading road marking experts. So thank you to them for showing their commitment to wellbeing and to the show. I think, really, what can I do but ask Pete, turn on your camera, my friend, and let's get a look at your gorgeous face. There he is. Look at that. There he is. Oh, look at that. Just, and suddenly the view shot through the roof, mate. Shot through the roof. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? You good?
All right, but you're dressed like a referee tonight. What's happening?
I'm not a referee. I've actually got top on, tracksuit top on.
Is that a tracksuit top? See, look, I don't know what tracksuit is. What's that? What's one of them?
Tracksuit. But you know what tracksuit is, because you haven't been in one for a long time. That's what it is. It's tracksuit.
I've not been in one, but I go Witherspoons, so I know what they look like.
You go where? Witherspoons. That's the restaurant.
Witherspoons, mate, for my all-day breakfast.
Oh,
so I see plenty of people down here in tracksuits, so I know what they're for.
Yeah, I'm in tracksuit, mate.
How you been coping with coming out of lockdown and all that?
Lockdown hasn't really affected me as that much as it would affect other people, because I was still writing, well, you know about the book, and I was actually still training people, one-on-ones. not group training though, just one-on-ones. So, and I had the kids around me, which was cool. So it's fine.
Okay, so I'll keep you busy. How did you get into comedy in the first place, Pete? When did you decide to be a comedian?
And I started comedy when I was a little boy, about 8 years old, to tell the truth. This is where I don't know if this happened to you or anyone else, but you know, I was my parents had me dancing in front of my family and gaining money. You ever had that happen to you? Yeah.
Not the money bit. There was no money. Irish family slightly different.
I didn't get the money at the end of the day, but they had me dancing and doing funny stuff, and that's when that's when they knew I was funny anyway, right? Because they got me to do that. And that's when I realized that I had a little niche as an entertainer. And I was called a special child from my mum. That's where the nickname Special P came from, which is what I used to use. Yeah, because my mum used to call me a special child. Not special as in one of those. I'm talking about special, special child, unique from the rest. I'm the only one that was born at home. I'm left-handed and that type of thing. And I'm the only one that found funny in everything. So that's when it first started. And then in school, I used to write the school plays, and then I used to act the comedian as well. Not a joker, not a prankster or anything like that. Comedy. I saw comedy in things, and I took out the comedy element and started to joke about that. So I knew I was a comedian. And that's when
don't panic.
That's when they knew I was
just a little bit of feedback there. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
Where did I go to school?
Yeah. Where was you brought up?
First, when I first came over here, I went in Paddington in a Catholic school. I was taught by nuns.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually fancied one of my nuns. I thought that was the ultimate. I thought that if you get close to a nun, that's the closest you can get to God. And that was it, mate. And I was in school. I went in school. Our Lady of Dollars, it was called at the time.
Our Lady of Dollars?
Yeah, that was the name of the school.
It was just linked to the dancing. You're getting dollars for dancing and dollars at school.
Well, let me tell you something. Our Lady of Dollars, the first school I went to was rough. It was called Essendine. Now, if anyone knows Paddington, they know Essendine was a rough school. It was full of poverty, people, and it was just a rough school. My mum didn't like it, so she took us out of that school and took us into a Catholic school down the road. Our Lady of Dollars, mate. That's where I went to school. Okay. That's why I started writing plays and all that stuff. So when I got into comedy, really it was from school days. Yeah.
Where was you born?
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then I come over here 7 years old, and then it started from there.
It just happened. First it was the dancing, before you knew it's cracking jokes.
Cracking jokes, entertaining people. Yeah, that was me, man. It was all about having fun. Yeah, because my parents, they just loved to laugh. So it's all about having fun in the family. That's what it was. It was fun. Yeah. Primary school, the plays, writing plays. I started writing from then. Then it went into secondary school. Secondary school, so I took up drama, and I still was writing a teacher told me to write comedy down for other comedians, and I started to do that. And if you want to know, when I first started comedy, it was late. I started very, very late in the comedy arena, but that's because I didn't want to go on stage. I didn't want to be the single person on stage. But I enjoyed writing for other people. I can write you a play all day, but I didn't want to go on stage. And that's me.
So what made you decide to do it? What was you doing before you did comedy? What jobs were you doing?
I was an accountant.
Oh, you remember that now? Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, you gave up accountancy and money to do comedy.
I was an accountant, man. Before I had my own accountant, and I had my own business. I was in the fruit and veg, the organic fruit and veg company I owned down in 9 Elms Lane. You know, Vauxhall. Yeah. I had the organic company. I was into organic and eating healthily way back before everyone's realized that eating healthily is a good thing for you. And they used to look at me and say, oh, God, you're with that, that's that funny food. Funny food, organic food. Yeah, they used to call it all different types of names. But I was in that industry for a while. I had my company, and they called my company the Black Organic Company. And then
Organic Company.
Yeah, when people found out it was black owned, man, a lot of problems started to happen from there.
Oh gosh, that's not good to hear.
Huh?
What in Vauxhall this was?
Do you remember Vauxhall Market down in 9 Elms Lane?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I first started off.
What was this? Was in the day though? Was that in the days when black people didn't eat hummus and that's Tara's Masala stuff.
Well, it was almost like if you told them eat organic food, I know, that's dirt, man. That's dirt. But it's the real food. You know, you grow it from proper foundations, and you eat it, and it tastes healthy. Well, not like the other stuff is called, it's injections in it. It was healthy food, and we should have been eating that way back then, but we didn't.
So what made you decide then that you would go on stage? Did you do a course, or you just rung up for a gig, or what happened?
No. I've always been funny, and we had a mutual friend in me and another comic called Mr. C. We had a mutual friend.
Okay.
And this guy, when I was in the army as well, and
I never knew that. You never told me that before.
Yeah, I was in the we call it Army Air Cadets, but they wanted me to go into the army.
Right.
And there was a mutual friend in the camp, and he said I should link up with Mr. C, comic, and do some stand-up comedy. Yeah. And we linked up, and then Mr. C, I'll give you 5 minutes on stage down in Billy Street, Cork's Wine Bar. Do you remember that?
Cork's, yeah, I remember Cork's.
Yeah, because we was there before. Remember Kojo took it over, and he done but we were there before Kojo. And that 5 minutes, that first 5 minutes, I can remember it was in August. It's almost like this year. What are we in now? What state now? We're in August what?
It's August 2021.
COVID
and lockdown didn't affect you at all.
No, do you know what I mean? But you sometimes lose track of your days when it comes to COVID has messed up a lot of things, you know what I mean? But this is my 21st year of comedy.
Wow.
You know, this August now. And I remember it was 21 years ago when Mr. C said 5 minutes on stage. And to do that 5 minutes, he told me in, July. And for the 4 weeks, brother, I was shitting myself. I mean, literally, literally, me in the toilet. I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat. I was shitting myself. That's the words I need to use. Until that day, and then when I got up on stage and finally did it, it was hilariously funny. And I thought
that was a supportive audience at Cork's, wasn't it?
There was, yeah.
If they liked you, they loved you.
Yeah. If they liked you, they liked you, and it's one of those ones. And the first time I did it, it was a great response, and I liked it, and I knew it was good, and I came off and I thought, this is easy stuff, isn't it? And then that went to my head, thinking it was easy stuff. I went back again to try the same material. It never worked. That's when I took it serious. All right, because the thing is, I didn't like to be defeated. So because it worked the first time, it was you're big-headed, didn't you? Yeah, let's just go and do this easy. Went back the second time, no response. I went, hey, something's wrong. And then I started to analyze comedy. Yeah, break it down. How comes this didn't work? Why didn't it work? What did I do that was different? I started to ask myself all these questions. And that's when I started to get into comedy properly. Yeah, that's it.
And there was no looking back, but you were still doing accountancy during the day? I
was still doing accountancy. I still doing accountancy. I didn't give up on accountancy. And then I went into my own business. And I started not to work for others. I worked for myself, self-employed.
Because my first impressions, right, I always go with my gut. And I'm never wrong, right? So I've never ever met someone, not liked them, and then become friends with them. It just don't happen. I'll give people about 7 to 10 seconds. But my first impressions of you were that you were very together, and you didn't seem like the other comics, because you always, and to this day, take pride in like how you present yourself.
There you go.
You know, always clean and tidy. I've never seen you. If you've seen a t-shirt and jeans, it's like an iron t-shirt and not Primark jeans. You know what I mean? It's like you're representing yourself. You are your best advocate. And then even how you carry yourself on stage, you can see that you've got like confidence in yourself, you know. And then I think on stage, that's a really important thing.
It is indeed. You portray, to people, what I made the effort for you. So, let's make an effort for me. That type of thing. I get my dress sense from my father. My father never allowed me to wear anything scruffy. And when I say scruffy, you're right. I couldn't go out with a t-shirt that's unironed. I couldn't go with trousers. I never wore a pair of jeans. This is so true. I never wore a pair of jeans until I was about 25 years old.
Wow. Because
my father just considered jeans to be a European thing. He didn't like it. I was always in suits and trousers and shoes. I didn't own a pair of trainers until I was 22 years old. I owned a pair. my own trainers, not the Adidas flip flops. You know, the old trainers.
Woolworths, 4 stripes.
You know, the Woolworths, yeah, that was for PE and all. Plimsolls, remember the Plimsolls and Goldflash? Yeah. I had those for PE, but to own an actual pair of trainers myself, I didn't have a pair of trainers until I was in my late 20s, mate. I used to wear shoes and trousers, and that was me. That's how my father wanted to dress, and that's how I dressed. That all changed later on with the fitness company, but
yeah. Well,
nah.
I can see that. So for people just tuning in or listening to us on SoundCloud later in the week, I'm joined by Peter Francis tonight, who, although he's a comedian, he's also a writer, a fitness guru, and it turns out a natural food specialist. You'll learn so every time I do these. So if you've got any questions, do pop them in the box or in the YouTube channel. Put them in the comment section later. So Pete, when you started doing gigs, then it went well from the start, or did you have tough times?
Most of the time it went well because I spent hours rehearsing. If it was tough, it was down to me. Me saying to myself, "Oh God, it's going to be working." You know, because comedians, we kill ourselves. We all question ourselves more than the audience. The audience are there wanting to laugh, and we're we're worried about this, we're worried about that, and we make ourselves feel a bit subjective to, this is not going to work, or etc. I overcome those fears, and now when I go on stage, it's more about what am I going to tell them to make them laugh. What is my audience made up of? What's the age group of? So I'm starting to ask myself questions about the audience, but not my set. And I question, so I have to deliver a set for my audience rather than it was the other way around. Oh my God, are they going to like me? No, I don't do that anymore. It's what am I going to deliver to my audience to make them laugh? Have I got material to? Say if I went out there and I saw a younger crowd, question yourself: do you have material that can entertain a younger crowd? That's how I see things now.
But I've worked with you in different locations, from theatres to pubs, from predominantly black audiences to jonglers, hens and stags. But you don't change. You don't, like a lot of acts, they start cussing and swearing, but you almost bring them to you.
Yeah. So you're that's what I'm saying. Bring them to your audience. And the reason why I don't change because I don't write my material with a label on it. Okay, this is going to be a black joke. I don't do that. This is a joke, and this joke should be able to. Doesn't matter what color you are, what color, creed. It doesn't really matter. This joke has to. It's funny. So if anyone should find humor in the joke, I don't write black jokes, which is quite a stereotype that people used to stereotype black comics. He's a comic. He's going to be a black figure. You know what I'm saying? I was never one of those comedians. I was never one of those comedians. That's probably why Junglers took me on so quick, because I wasn't black orientated, white orientated. I just wrote jokes, and that was me.
And then, of course, I remember when we did the Concord Club, and you wore a tuxedo, and you just no one else but you turn up in a taxi, looking like Idris, and it's like you auditioning for the Black James Bond. In a full tuxedo.
That was hilarious. I was told by the management at the time that you got to go and impress. I thought, what, impress? I said, what's the word? I said, all right, no problem. And I turned up
tuxedo,
like I was getting married or something to someone.
I was like, what?
I'm like, yeah, let's go for this shit. But I felt comfortable in it.
But you looked good. You looked comfortable. I remember taking some pictures, sending you some pictures, and you looked sharp.
Yeah, man, that was funny. That was not too long ago. That was 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. But for me, though, nights like that, because my attitude's always been like, look, you've got 10 seconds. You're going to like me or not, no matter what I do, because of how you look at me or whatever. And your attitude very much was, no, this is it's all part of it. Your clothes, your stance, your gravity of your words, your use of language is very impressive as well. But what I did notice, though, was that on that particular night, I'd say, well, the audience were all white people over the age of 50, I reckon. And you did not change up or pander to them. You just went up there, done your stuff, and just wheeled them in.
That's what I needed to do. Yeah.
Because I also remember when we went to Manchester, me, you, and Jason, and we had that long road trip up.
Who's Jason? What was your son with you?
Jason Patterson, my boy was at university up there.
Jason Patterson, I remember.
Yeah. And then we all went out afterwards. That's fun times. But that was interesting going to Manchester. When people don't realise that, like we work together. But if me and you work together in like Ilford, well, then we're going to chat and you go, and then I'll spend half an hour with you. But that road trip, I remember, was just hilarious. It was just, apart from the amount of luggage that you and Jason Patterson had, I thought the two of you was leaving home. I'll have to get him on, actually. Thought you turn up with suitcases. There's me with my toothbrush and a pair of pants.
It was a trip. It was what was it? 3 days, 2 days, 2 days?
Yeah.
It was good.
But that's what people don't realise, is that when you travel around the country, the reception that you get changes. So I will change my set completely depending on who I'm in front of. But you're the opposite. You're like, you know what I mean? I'm selling my vegan produce here.
Yeah. This is me. I only have to adopt. If there was a Christians in there. But this is me. This. I write. As I say, I write material to be funny. I don't write material for a particular audience or particular stuff. I write it to be funny. You've got to take it as it is. This is what I'm delivering to you. There you go. Is it funny? Here. That's it.
But it's that statement that you make. Even your Twitter name, I am Peter Francis. It's like, I know who I am. I know who I am, and I know what.
Yeah.
So then, what happened then with the fitness stuff? Where did that come from? So tell us about your company first of all.
Fitness Flow is my company, spelled Fit FITNESSFLO, no W. Fitnessflow.co.uk. That's my company. What it was, I've been training for around about, I don't know, about 20 or 26 years training, and I had a natural gift to train other people. And get them to benefit. And this is learned from my brothers, because my brother was always in the gym, and my brother was a professional footballer, and he got me into training. Not only did he get me into training, when I saw illnesses in the family, I was thinking, hang on a minute, why are people getting ill? They're not looking after themselves. Well, I'm not going to have that with myself. I'm going to start looking after myself. And this all occurred when I got diabetes. And when I caught diabetes, I went, something's wrong here. Something has to change. And so I started analysing my diet. This is how I got into the organic food as well.
But how did you catch diabetes? What happened?
It's hereditary. You know what? Part of it might be the road trips that we took and eating that horrible food, the burgers, the chips. But I'm just saying it was food related. And the food that you eat can affect you internally. And so I decided to change all of that up, change it all up. And I started to exercise. I started to look into nutrition. I started to look into ways to control your what your organs needed for them to rejuvenate themselves, what your cells needed, what your blood needed, the whole caboodle. And the training, what type of training you needed to assist your body to make your body look healthy. And that's what got me into training. Then I got into training, and someone said to me that you need to go and be a PT, a personal trainer. And I said, whatever. A couple of years went by, and I went, and I started to do a PT course, and I qualified the highest in my class. Yeah, talk about it. Yeah. And East Down College. Okay. And then I started my own company, but I had my company before. I qualified. Before I qualified, I started my own company, Fitness Flow. I now have 4 people working for Fitness Flow, 4 trainers working for me. Brilliant. I sit back and just relax. And I also train I'm not going to say this too loud, but I'm not supposed to. I train the police. All right. So we do that. And ever since then, my company I have not really advertised Fitness Flow since I started Fitness Flow. When I say advertise, the full campaign, say, hey, come and see Fitness Flow. It's just been word of mouth, and the company's just been taken over. And I kind of like that.
But what I noticed though is that you do a lot of free stuff. You let people have trials and that, and you never seem to be pushing for money.
No, you see, okay, here we go again. Money doesn't grab me how it will grab someone else. I don't think. I don't view money like other people. Oh, I must have thousands of pounds in order to achieve something, to make a name. No, I don't view money like that. Yes, we all need money to live. We understand that. But I'm not the person that's going to go out there and say, I want to make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 pounds. No, if it comes, it comes, bro. Yeah, that's my view on it. If it comes, it comes. But I'm not going to go and say to myself, some people, I need to make £2 million, otherwise I ain't nothing. Bro, that's your philosophy. I am something, and I don't need to make that much money. I'm something to a lot of people. especially my kids. But I'm to a lot of people, and I have pride in what I do, but it's not money orientated. If you see what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I see that. How do you use your comedy in your training?
How do it's
Yeah.
not it's my persona in my training that I use to get people motivated. Yeah, it's almost like I don't actually, when I do train people, I'm not the comedian, if you see what I mean. I train people, but I have a persona with me, and I have, and I engage with them to encourage them and motivate them. That's how I use that form of comedy. Yeah. So I
And
always
then, so
train.
your students. So you've
Yeah,
said that you have the Metropolitan Police,
yeah.
and you also have housewives.
Housewives.
Yeah,
I wish I did.
you have old people.
I got no. It's the truth. I got right across the board.
Yeah.
I've trained from 14-year-old people with illnesses to up to 60-year-old men and women, to tell the truth. So I don't have no specific group that I train. I train right across the board. There's no specific group.
Do you think people are getting unhealthier?
I think people were getting unhealthier, and see, COVID has made people realize how unhealthy they are mentally, physically, emotionally. COVID has addressed that. It sounds weird, but people sitting alone at home, you almost think, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? I need to do something. This is just not right. And then they come out, they've eaten too much and they want to get healthy again. So COVID has almost retrained you, or people's minds, to do something about themselves mentally, physically, etc., which is good for me, because I just get phone calls saying, oh, you know what, I think I put on too much weight now. Yeah, come see me, that's fine. So it's
But
good.
because you do the cooking as well, don't you? It's not just about
Oh,
the.
right. Yeah. This was something, this is my son, My son says to me, look, Dad, I know you're a great cook. Why don't you try to do a cooking thing? And so what I used to do is I get people to send me 7 ingredients. I'll cook you up a meal. The only thing is that you couldn't come and taste it because of COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of COVID lockdown. I watched some of them.
Yeah. So I started to cook meals on a Sunday at 7 o'clock. I used to just cook and show you what you could do with certain ingredients. And that was all part of teaching people, look, you don't need to go and do a big shop in order to eat healthily. This is what you can do and eat healthily. And that's what that was for. I did about 20 series of and I've done it live.
Yeah.
Live. Yeah. It was good stuff, man. I enjoyed it. It's just I haven't had time to do it again because of the book.
So then we got Eat with Pete.
Eating with
Eat
pizza.
with Pete. And your fitness stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you're helping people again, but with the same standard, because your cooking thing, you weren't like you was making burger and chips.
No. Proper food.
Beans and toast.
It was proper food. It was good stuff. Good stuff.
So what's your go-to food then? If you've got no limits.
If something that I particularly like.
Yeah.
I particularly like fish anyway. Yeah.
Fish.
I like fish because I haven't eaten meat for 20 years. Red meat. Yeah.
Right.
I still dabble in chicken every now and then, poultry.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it mixed up. No. But I have red meat for over 20 years. I particularly like fish. I do like salmon. I like a bit of trout salmon. I like snapper. So that would be my go-to foods. It would be salmon and
So then, how on the road, when you're on the road, how do you manage to
pre-cook
it and bring it?
Pre-cook, yeah.
Well, I have a flask or something, or it's Tupperware in it.
Yeah, Tupperware, man. Put it Tupperware. Yeah. I got to see, and the thing about it, I have to cook where I know I don't have to reheat my food because I don't eat microwave foods. So I would eat food. So it's pre-cooked. And if I do have to have something, it'd probably be a sandwich. It won't be no McDonald's or anything like that. It would just be a sandwich. And again, it would be a tuna fish sandwich.
See, I'm not big on fish, man. Not big on fish.
You should be. You should. Well, to each his own, to tell the truth. You still eat burgers, don't you? I know you.
No, I don't really eat burgers and that. But fish, I'm just, the only fish I can eat is if it's spiced, if it's cooked like Caribbean style. I can't eat like.
But then why don't you just cook it like that? Yeah, but salmon, Caribbean style. You mean frying it and all that stuff?
I love all that, but I know, you got healthy problems with that. I remember, my friend, before she went back to Grenada, she said, look, I said, I'm going to miss you and your fish. right? And she was like, well, come, I'll show you how I make it. Oh,
Mm.
my days. When I saw how she made it, I was like, whoa, that
I'm
explains a lot about my heartburn.
yeah. Yeah.
We just put 2 liters of oil and a pound of sugar.
No, you see, that's what I'm saying. You don't cook with oil, bro. You don't need to cook with oil. You know what I'm saying? Use something else. Or use coconut oil. Okay, use coconut oil if you need to. Yeah.
See, again, you're just thinking it through. But one of the other things, so apart from, to me, Peter Francis is a guy that is smart and together and collected. But I always love that you are such a positive dad and just so
Mm.
positive around the kids and that. And especially in this day and age when dads don't really get a lot of respect, it's not the easiest job in the world. You know, mums get all the credit and all the perfume and chocolates and
Yeah. And dads don't get niche, do they? Well, I actually do get some information from my kids, though. I love being around with children. They teach me a lot, boy. They teach me about who I am, to tell the truth. And they go question yourself. Kids will make you question yourselves, boy. Question your temper, question your kids. What? But I love them. I love
But
them.
you're more of a shepherd though, isn't it, than a dad, because apart from leading your flock, there are quite a few of them.
There's quite a few. I've got 8 children.
8 children.
8. One of them died, but I've got 8.
Mate, I'm sorry to hear that, but it's
So
still there.
I still say I got 8 children. That's fine.
Yeah. So then, is it difficult balancing that? Because I know, like, there's been days when we've done a gig, and I'm like, "What have you been doing today?" Well, I've been looking after 6 kids. I'm like, "Wow, wow."
Some of them are big now. I mean, I'm a granddad now.
Yeah.
So, but the younger crew, they're going for that phase that they think they know everything type of thing. And I would say, yeah, whatever. I've been there. I've done it.
How old is the youngest?
The youngest one is 9. 9 years.
And eldest?
32. Bro.
So how does it differ, the 9-year-old in 2021 compared to a 9-year-old in the year 2000?
What's the difference between the 9?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question.
Because we're 2 decades on. We're 20 years on, right?
Yeah,
So
but
20
the
years
thing is, I've seen it before. I've seen everything that they've done before. They can't pull the wool over my eyes. I mean, I was a child too, so I know everything that they're gonna do next. They think they know. They think they're smarter than you sometimes when they're trying to little conniving little stuff. And I'm just visualizing now, but you know, I've done it before and I've been there before. I know they move it, and sometimes they always go, "How did you know I was gonna do that?" Oh man.
Are they allowed to wear jeans and trainers? Have you kept your?
Oh yeah, that's different. Yeah, they can do what I allow them to do.
And you don't pay them to dance or anything like that.
None of that business, bro. I have a reign over my children. Huh?
Them times
I have
are
a
gone.
reign over. I mean, I don't even like my girls wearing nail varnish until now they can because they're 14. But when they're kids, I'm not into that stuff really. No nail varnish, none of this lipstick stuff and false eyelashes. I'm not into that. When they're older, yes, but not when they're kids. I've still got that.
Do you think it's harder for kids now than it was when we was growing up?
It's easier.
It's easier.
Yeah, of course it's easier now because they've got internet. We never had internet to show us all of this, you know, people doing whatever they need to do on the internet to get likes. You know what I mean? You create your account. Oh, you get likes, and mentally that messes them up as well. You know, if you don't get enough likes, I don't feel good today. It's easier for them to get access to the worldwide information and to find out what's going on. We didn't have that. Yeah, so they can follow trends. We didn't have that.
Do any of them have your talent for comedy? Anyone following the footsteps?
Yes. Yes, I'm visualizing one of my twins. Yes, definitely.
So we have a dynasty.
Ah, man, you could do, but I don't think they'll go into comedy. I think more acting.
So then, given right, you're quite a charismatic figure. You're quite an influence on the community, right? Because you do stuff in Fitness Flow and you help people and you put on gigs and you give people a chance and that. Tell us about your book? How did your book come about?
The book come about. I wrote a play. I wrote a play based on my life, and I wrote it before I wrote the book. And because of COVID, my daughter sat down and told me, "Why don't I write a book?" I've never written a book before, bro. Yeah, and I didn't even know where to start. So I had to do some research on how do I start writing a book. And I read a couple of books, watched a couple of films, and I said, all right, I know I'm gonna give this a bash. All right. I started writing. And with the aid of my two girls, because I've had to take myself back to when I was a teenager, but I've also had to make it the language common to what how these teenagers speak. So, you know, the lingual and the eubonics, so they can refer to my book and think, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about. Because if I wrote the book back in my day, the language
different.
It's different, so different. So I had to make it relative to the today. And so I utilized my two daughters for that. And I wrote the book. And the more I was getting into it, the character, me, and the things that's happening around it, the more I thought, this is good. I'm going to do this. And then I completed it in 6 months. Yeah, this is the book. And I was like, what should I do with it? Then I had, I'm going to tell you, I had a lot of offers. They wanted to buy the book off me, but they wanted to buy it outright, or the copyrights and everything. And I said, this book has got some validity to it, you know what I mean? So I said, no, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it and see what I can do with it. Because as you know, money doesn't influence me like it influences others. So if I was in another person's shoes, they would have put the money and said, you know what, yeah, take the book. But I thought, it's my first book. Yes, I could have sold it, but I didn't. And I put it out only February just gone. It's called Consequences, as you know.
Yep.
And it's doing really well, bro. It's got some great reviews. And it's just doing really well, and it's an ebook at the moment. It's not even a book.
Yeah.
So I do plan to launch the paperback book, release it, but at the moment, leave it as an ebook sitting down there, and I'm in negotiations with a publisher over the,
Yeah. So from what I remember, because it's a while since I've read it, it's Troy and Mark.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what's the guy's name? Daryl.
Troy, Mark, Andrew.
Daryl, Danny.
Gavin. Troy, Mark, Andrew, and Gavin are the main characters in the book. Yeah.
Darcy.
The Darcy crew.
Darcy crew, that's it.
Darcy crew. Yeah, they're following. Now you have to bear in mind this book is not based on a gang life. It's looking through the person's eyes of what happens from the consequence of what he does, the trickle-on effects of how it affected others. And that's what the book is mainly about. But it all started from him influenced by peer pressure, which is what's happening with the kids today.
So with the kids today, then, do you think, like, your book, does it offer hope, or is it more?
Yes, but it also takes them on a journey of what the possibilities, what could happen to them in a bad way, because of their choices, because of the consequences that they made, right? So the book will take you on a journey and show you that. I don't know, back in the day, your parents used to always say, there's two roads you could take. You could take this way, you could take that way. Basically, that's what the book is saying, but it's also saying that, you take this way, this is what happens. This doesn't only affect you, it affects others, many others. And if you go this way, both ways you go have consequences, but it's up to you which path you choose. Yeah? You can choose to go the long path around and affect so many other people. You could choose this way and fight to get to where you want to get to. But just bear in mind, there's consequences to your actions. And
but do you feel though that now that kids just get labelled and written off? Is there hope, especially in the cities?
Easily. It only takes one child to do something, and then the whole race gets attacked. Or a lot of kids, and of course, you know what I mean. Everybody gets stereotyped and put in a little bracket, and no one wants to help them. That's what I find. Yeah, not trying to analyze what's happened to that particular child. What journey has that child been on? What has that child experienced to cause him to do this? That's what we need to be looking at, instead of just saying, "Oh, this child, he's done that. Waste of time," and leaving him. And all it does is have a trickle effect on the rest of the children or the rest of the people that he's associating with. And so this book explains a lot. It explains a lot in depth how parents have to watch out for certain signs.
Do you think that it's relevant to white families, to non-black families?
Exactly. Remember what I told you about my jokes? I don't write my jokes for any particular color. It's the same with the book. And one thing I did in the book is I haven't labeled what color the characters are.
I was interested in asking you about that.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why
Because
is that?
it affects all races. What happens to Troy affects all of races. It's not just a white thing or black thing or Spanish. It affects all races, and that's why I deliberately wrote the book like that.
Because what fascinates me is this thing about, especially for black boys, inner city black boys get labeled and stereotyped a certain
Yeah,
way, right?
yeah.
And yet the same boys on council estates from single parent families or low income families, whatever, in Glasgow will be
Yeah.
white. In Belfast will be white.
From the area. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have more in common with each other than
Mm-hmm.
they're allowed to realize.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was quite interesting that came through in your book was
Mm.
that whole thing of, well, actually, this could be set anywhere. Could be set anywhere.
That's exactly how I wrote the book. This book could be even in another country. I take this book to America, it's the same thing. Take it to Moscow, it's the same thing. Russia, same thing. Yeah. I've never. The only person that I've labelled as a particular race would be Santana, and that's the female, and that's because of what happens to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So she's the only person that gets labelled as a particular race. I won't tell you what race she is, but particular race, and the things that's happened to her, and I did it for a reason. But you'll find out when you read the book.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, when people do that, but it's so fascinating then because what I notice happens a lot to black writers, black comedians, is that you suddenly become the spokesperson for all black people.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Like, well, and people go, well, why do you do that, or why do they do that? Like, you've got as much a clue as I have, and especially if, like, you live in a nice house in a nice area, and you're a businessman. Well, why do you know what it's like on the 13th floor of a tower block in 2021?
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I don't know how that comes about, but I don't know how we change people's perceptions of us. But I'm a one person. I could just go out there and keep, telling people
and be that difference.
So, try and be different.
Are you looking to make it into a film?
Exactly. What it is part one's out. I'm 3/4 of the way through part two, and this is where the positives come from part one. Part one is all about the negatives that people can experience, etc., the journeys that they've taken, the rock parts. Part two shows you the positivity that can come out. Now, it's been tagged to be a film.
Okay.
I've had 1 or 2 people interested in me in the film. There's a lot of things. I do want to make the play. I am looking for places. It's very hard now, I find, to try and find places to rehearse. Everybody wants to get money again.
Yeah.
Paying for. I just want. What I want is, I know that the book, or should I say the play, it can be make an impact into young people's minds and also parents' minds. Yeah, it gets them. It's an eye opener. It is a real eye opener. And if I can get sponsorship, man, this will just shoot off as there. And that's what I'm trying to work on. Who do I go to for sponsorship? How do I get places to rehearse? It was easier. I mean, I've already done the play before, but it was easy.
Where did you have the play on?
In Peckham, huh?
Oh, Peckham. Okay.
In the theatre in Peckham. I'm trying to find the name of the theatre. It closed down, but I'm still trying to find the name of the theatre. I don't know how I can't remember the stupid name. I don't know everything else apart from the name of that theatre, because they changed the name 3 times, son. But they closed. But I had the play on before, but I'm trying to put the player back on again. Hopefully it will turn into a film. I have the gut feeling that soon someone will pick it up and say, yes, okay, we're going to make it into a film.
That belief.
We're ready. Go on.
So for people just listening to us on SoundCloud or just dipping in, dipping out, this is Peter Francis, comedian, writer, fitness advocate, cook.
Yeah, quite shit.
Fashionista.
There you go, bro.
We're talking about your book, Consequences. But as a comedian, then, do you see yourself as a comedian or as a writer or as an all-round kind of purveyor of the arts?
I see myself more as a comedian and an author. Yeah. But more so of a comedian, because I'm always funny, apparently. I'm always trying, even if I'm trying to be serious, sometimes I get funny. So I am a comedian. The author bit is something that I've found that I can do, and I actually love doing it. I love sitting down and writing and creating. So yeah, If you put in a
But
bracket,
given that you're a comedian, I didn't, there's not a lot of humor in the book. There's not a lot of it's not
no,
a funny
because that's
book.
what. No, it won't be because it's because I'm trying to make a point. I haven't written the book to be funny. I'm trying to bring across these are the consequences of life, and part of it is because I've got children, and I do not want them to get mixed up in any gang rivalry or I would never like to hear, and I feel sorry for every mum that hears that phone call. Your son has been killed in because of and I'm saying to myself, I need to I am a comedian, but I also need to show people, that there's a serious side to life, and we have to be careful, and we also have to look after our children, because if we start taking care of our children, if you know that your child is not working and your child is not getting any money, but he's coming home with 100 pair of trainers, and you're not questioning your child, then you're part to blame for what's going to happen to him. Because there's no way that my child can walk through the door with £100 trainers unless his mum's giving him £100 to pay, or £200, because trainers are expensive now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Back in my day, my trainers cost 99p, bro. These guys are coming in with trainers, £100. Where did you get the money to buy the trainers? And they're not questioning that. Then there's something wrong with your parenting skills. Surely.
But then how do we change that? How do we break that?
By keeping on monitoring your son and questioning your son. I say son, girls are into it too. Questioning them. Find out who they're hanging around with. Find out what they do. Who are their friends? Where did their friends come from? Are their friends got stable background? You need to question everything about your child nowadays, because it's people that influence them. My son was approached by a dealer telling him, look, hey, if you just deliver this package to me, I'm going to give you £30 and you can buy your, what was he into at the time? That stupid card game. It was a card, I don't know.
Like Pokemon or something like that.
It's some shit like that. Yeah. Now, if I didn't train my son, he could have well and gone and done that job. Then he would have gone and done it again. But because he knows of me and how I disciplined him, he came and he told me.
Yeah.
Some children don't tell you. But my son came back and told me. And I said to him, well, you need to avoid that person and make sure when you leave your school, you're going straight home, and make sure you don't, engage in that person at all. And if anything, tell the school.
Then that's you're instilling them. Again, it goes back to your own parents, doesn't it? You're instilling those values.
Values, that's what it is, values. Yeah, putting values into your children. It could be something simple as that. Changing their mindset. Changing a child's mindset.
It seems to me, though, that parents now, they seem reluctant or unwilling to parent, and they want to be their friends. They want to be their kids' friends.
Sometimes they don't have the time in it with work-wise, trying to make ends meet.
Can I ask, what did your parents do? What did they work at?
My father was a maintenance man. And my mum used to take care of mentally ill children. So it's often we used to have a child come to us in a wheelchair, and we used to play with the child. So that's what my mum used to do. But they don't do that anymore. My parents are old.
Do you think that maybe where you got your kind of caring side from, your kind of desire to want to help? Because you want to help people, man. You want to make a difference.
I do want to help people. Do I get my caring? Yes, I do get my caring side from my parents. And there's 5 of us, 5 children, 5 of my siblings. So we're all in. Well, let's put it this way: if I start analysing my siblings, my sisters, my sister is head of the hospitals. My other sister is a headmistress. My brother used to mentor children at St. John's Wood. And my younger brother, he's just taken on my role as an accountant. So we're all gone into some sort of caring nature for people. So it's probably in the blood.
It's got to be in something, right? Because that, like I say, that's something that comes across from anyone who knows you or takes the time to know you. We'll see that there's a deeply thoughtful person there, right? Mm. So, but then, given that, your parenting is your 100 kids or whatever it is now. No, yeah, I'm not. You
$200.
know what? I got into an argument with one of my mates because of you. Because
Did really?
he was struggling with his 2 boys, and I said, well, "Listen, Pete's got like 8." To be honest, I think I told him 9, but I don't know if you've been tracked down for the last one. But I said, "Look, he's got 8, and he makes time for them. He makes time for them, right? So if he can make time for 8, you can make time for 2. Yeah, but I'll work." I'm like, "This man works. He runs like 4 businesses. He's like Del Boy."
Okay.
Like, but that caring side of you, how do you care for yourself? What do you do to keep yourself straight?
You mean mentally?
Yeah, mentally and physically.
But like I say, this is what I'm saying to you. Training, eating well, sleeping well. That's what I do. Train, eat, sleep well, and I've got a lot of love around me. But they stem from my kids.
That's nice.
Yeah. And that's a combination. Once you've got that combination, you're fine. Remember,
So
I didn't mention money, bro. Remember, you don't need to be happy.
Yeah, well, there's always that.
Well, some people do, but I'd say, well, I don't.
I was brought up in a very, very religious household, and like it or not, a lot of it sticks. And I will very often toss out little quotes from the Bible or from things that are, I'm not a churchgoer, but I like I hear my mum's voice. The love of money is the root of all evil, and then you don't have money and friends. You pursue one or the other.
Right.
And that seems very apparent to you. If you were to hone down, though, your tips for people, what they need to do to stay mentally on track, what do you think would be the best advice you could give?
Oh, well, then you could just say mentally on track. It will go back to what I just preached for the last hour. Take care of your health first, yourself mentally and physically, to the best of your ability. All right. This is to your best ability. Do the best that you can for yourself, and then give your love to other people. But don't, if you're warped minded yourself, then don't start preaching. It's not for you. Fix yourself first, mentally, physically, and then help others.
That is sound advice, man. It's interesting because each week I'll ask someone for their tips, and very rarely, Kane said about go to the gym. His thing was very much about if your mind and your body are linked, but for a lot of people they don't seem to equate the two. They don't seem to understand that there's a connection between the two. If I was to see you in 3 years' time, what would you like to see? How would Pete Francis be 3 years time?
3 years' time, this is what I expect you to see. You expect to be walking down the BAFTA Awards, receiving a thing for my book, my film. This is my film, brother. I told you about 3 years ago, and I'll have a couple of young men whose paths might have gone wrong, walking up there with me saying, look, this book changed his life, and you could do it too. That's where I want you to see me.
But you know what I would be most fascinated by? I'd be like, how does that tuxedo still fit him, man? That he's still he ain't put on an ounce of weight in 3 years.
Oh my God, yeah. I train, bro. I tell you what I say, I train. I do train, and I train out.
Brilliant. Have you got any gigs coming up where people can come see you?
The gig that coming up was just cancelled. The festival, there's a festival in the park, I think.
Well, a big 50 thing. We had 50.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, did he have to cancel it?
They had to cancel it, yeah. My last gig was in Birmingham just the weekend just gone, and I've got one coming up I think I'm in Northampton. I believe I'm in Northampton. A couple of weeks time, because things are just starting opening back officially again, and then in September they're going to start saying if you take the jabs, if you don't take the jabs you can't perform or something like that, and it's like let's see what happens.
That's good, man. Okay, so look, I'm gonna post the link to your book on my Facebook page. And I will recommend it to people and look forward to seeing the play. Mate, as always, the time has flown. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, man. And we'll speak soon, yeah?
We'll speak soon, John. Take care of yourself, man. All the best, yeah?
Take care. All the best, man. Cheers. That was Pete Francis. Just an amazing guy. And like in comedy, you work with hundreds of people and you meet good people and you kind of stick to them. So although I don't see Pete every day, every week, every month, he is someone I would call a friend, and he's someone that I'm very proud to know. And I was very interested in his tip for well-being, because his thing about taking care of your physical health, but then he said to the best of your ability. And I think one of the problems that we have nowadays is that if you're not doing like 200 press-ups and a couch to 10K, there's something wrong with you. But what Pete's saying is to the best of your ability. It is tough. We've come out of lockdown now. We are hopefully on the road back to some sort of normality, but we're obviously still going to have to take care of ourselves. Think about your top tips for well-being, what you think works for you. Kane, who I've mentioned a couple of times tonight, because his tips I thought were very good. It was about being selfish and looking after yourself. Riolina was talking about managing your energy and having a nothing day where you just switch off. Too often we always feel that we've got to be doing something, but actually, no, you don't need to be doing anything at all. Danny Postal, the impersonator, was talking about making other people happy can actually make you feel better. Marcus, who had the stroke, if you remember, talks about yoga and eating well. And then, of course, we had Dave Sleet, the psychoanalyst guy, who's fascinating. But he said his thing was quite interesting. Be the difference. Just try to be the difference. Be there for other people as well as for yourself. And of course, Philip Simon, great tips. Stubbornness. Be stubborn. Stick to a task. If you're doing something, see it through. And then that way you won't feel disappointed. He's not saying be goal orientated, but he is saying, get a hold of something and make it work for you. I think that Eric McElroy's tips last week were very, very interesting when he said, find something to do and just try and push on with it. I think that it's really important that we realize that life is tough. It is tough, but the hand you're given is the hand you're given. There are things that we can all do that I just want to kind of reiterate. Having positive people in your life is so important. Exercise. Well, any kind of exercise. I'm not going to go jogging, but I'll walk around the park or I'll walk to the fridge. I don't know. But act. Don't procrastinate. So that's a really big one. And finally, reframe your unhelpful thoughts. Try and live in the moment. Get a good night's sleep when you can. Connect with others. Be healthy. Now, I know people go, oh, it's easy for you to say that. Well, you know what? It is easy for me to say that because in the place that I'm in my life, I'm happy. And I know that sometimes people are not happy. And if you're struggling or if you know someone who is struggling, don't struggle on your own. Talk to someone. Have a look at the Mind website. Mind is a mental health charity, and they feel that no one has to face a mental health problem alone. And of course, Time to Change, who I always recommend. I actually did a conference, and one of their team was there, who was like, "Oh, you're the guy that keeps going around bigging us up." Time to Change is saying, let's end mental health discrimination. The world can be a hard, harsh, and uncaring place, but it can also be a beautiful place. I hope that you guys stay safe and have a great week and be safe. Once again, I want to thank WJ, our sponsors, for believing in me enough to go, come on, we'll get behind your show. The men's radio station and the women's radio station have some great shows every day, all day. Do have a look at the website, mensradiostation.com. There's great shows on there, and it's not preachy. They're just trying to be the difference, trying to help. Have a look at my own little website, happytohealthyou.com, where you'll see what me and Natasha are getting up to as well. All I can ask you guys to do is just stay safe, just as you can. I've learned of 3 people in the last 4 days who've passed away, just not with long-term health conditions, no COVID. They've just popped off. So you never know how long you got left. If you can enjoy life, then it's always going to be easier. As usual, next Monday night, I will be back. Next Monday, I've got an absolutely fantastic guest. You're going to love her. Jen Brister, who is going to be massive in a couple of years' time. So I'm chuffed to bits that she's agreed to come on the show. Take care, guys, and stay safe.
Well, that's the end of another episode of Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. talking with comedians about mental wellness, mental well-being, and just trying to get the conversation going. What we're trying to do is show that it's good to talk, and we're also trying to show that everybody can go through the same experiences. A massive thank you to the WJ Group who sponsored the show, showing their commitment not just to mental well-being, but also to reaching as broad an audience as possible. It's great to be part of the mensradiostation.com family, so do check us out on the website, on social media. We'll be back next Monday. You take care. Stay safe, everybody.